All right. Well, we gather here tonight at 11:35 to bring you the Bad Gaming Podcast Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes roundtable discussion / audio review. I am one of your hosts, Brock Morgan. I am joined today on my left by Kirsten Kelsey.
Hey, what's going on?
On her left, Alex Lena.
I don't know if I should do a David Hayter impression or Kiefer Sutherland impression.
That is tricky now. I hate having to make that choice. We'll figure that out, I guess. And then all the way across the table to his left and to my right, Thomas Lena.
Hello.
All right, Thomas should speak up.
All right. Kept you waiting, huh?
There you go. All right, there, figured it out. Okay.
So,
What if we say Kiefer Sutherland's lines like David Hayter would?
okay.
I think that, okay.
And then just record it over it, and put it into the game.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And there probably won't be too much audio to record over because Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, as you probably know by now, either through various internet chatter or by reading the text portion of our review, is really short. Like, really short.
Very, very short.
We're recording this the day the game came out, and all four of us have played through and beaten the game. Yeah, so
That should say something.
that says something right there. We'll get into a lot of probably the value proposition of this game, the way it currently stands, probably here in a moment. But I would like to start out with general impressions, how everybody feels about the game, and kind of what we came away from it thinking. Alex, you played it first amongst us, so if you want to lead us off.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with describing kind of what Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes is without knowing, like if you haven't followed the two games, Ground Zeroes and the other part of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, it can be really confusing as to what Ground Zeroes actually is and its significance. And some would easily argue that its story in MGS 5 Ground Zeroes is not significant to the things going to be happening in The Phantom Pain. But I believe it's being pitched as a prologue to that game, much like the tanker mission from Metal Gear Solid 2. Just that intro, and some people, I read today some comments suggesting that it'll be just like the tanker mission in Metal Gear Solid 2, and that is good, and then the rest of the Phantom Pain is going to be terrible, like Metal Gear Solid 2 was. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So it's also being called like a paid demo and all these other things. It's really short, and it really is impossible to ignore its brevity versus how much it costs. But we'll again talk about that more a little bit later. Overall, though, what is there I did enjoy as a Metal Gear fan. I even just replayed the first act of Metal Gear Solid 4 to be sure. I still think I like 4. I think 4 handles better and controls better in a lot of the things that it does. 5 modernizes a lot of things, and that, I guess, took away some of what I loved about every other game in the series. So. But, I mean, this, again, it's hard to extrapolate too much from what, if Ground Zeroes will be like the Phantom Pain. I'm sure it will be extremely similar, but I would think there could be changes made. There would be time, hopefully. We'll see.
All right. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go next. I played it after Alex finished it. I'm coming from the perspective of someone who has played Metal Gear Solids 1, 2, and 3, and Portable Ops and part of Peace Walker, but have never finished 4. So I may not be the best suited to compare how the two feel side by side, but I guess it handles somewhat like I remember 4 handling in what I played. It's the character movement felt a little stiffer than I guess what I remember 4 feeling like, but it really does play like a Metal Gear game. I think Ground Zeroes, handles much more in the sense that you can play that kind of mission really any way you want to. You can be really stealthy and handle it like Metal Gear, and I certainly tried to do that for a while and tried to treat it like a sneaking mission. But eventually, you with the addition of a mechanic that every time you're spotted, it gives you the opportunity to press left trigger and immediately zone in on who spots you. So it became really easy to just walk up to someone, wait until they see you, and then headshot, and then gone. And then that person's gone, and if you were doing it the right way, nobody else saw you, no alarms, no nothing, even though you're just running up and blasting these people in the face.
You can also do that non-lethal as well. If you get a headshot with the hush puppy.
Man, the tranquilizer pistol in this game is awful compared to the previous games. I mean, in previous games, yeah, that tranq pistol can put somebody out, put them down for the count within a few seconds. But it was taking me upwards of probably 30 plus seconds to knock somebody out. So it really became, I don't know, I thought it was a waste of time. And I usually like to play it as stealthy as I can, but that was not feasible. So yeah, I ended up blasting my way through it. Kirsten, I know you really blasted your way through that game. You ended up coming out of that with 79 or 73.
73 kills.
73 kills in the space of an amount of time. Yes. So that...
Mile away.
let's see. Yeah, so you can approach it any way you want. I was probably going somewhere with that originally, but I think the core of what Ground Zeroes is and what it will be for people who buy the game and get really excited about it is replayability and the fact that you can explore so much of this base and handle different situations in different ways. After you beat the game the first time, beat the game, whole thing, beat the game the first time. It unlocks a lot of side missions that you can take on the next time you play that, which you can beat then to unlock those on hard difficulty and play those on hard. So people who like the game have the opportunity to play through it a lot and do different things each time. I don't know if I would have personally been compelled to play through it more than a few more times, but that's still not going to add up to a ton of play time.
I did play through. There's one to eliminate 3 of the anti-air missile emplacements. Yeah, and the cool thing about that is that it was in daytime instead of raining at night, so you get to see that, which looks good. But one thing I kept thinking the entire time I was playing the first one, and then seeing that list at the end, was I wish it was like Perfect Dark, in that if you choose different difficulties, you get all these different side missions to do, and then you can do them all at once. And then if it had it done that, like all of that in the one mission, it might not have been as tight, but it definitely would have been longer, and it would have felt more substantial than rescue 2 prisoners and leave. That's all that Ground Zeroes is: rescue 2 prisoners and leave, extract. That is it.
Yep.
So having those side missions, that even if it is something silly like eavesdrop on these guys to get intel, or blow up those anti-air things, I think it would have made it a better experience if all that had been there.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just the addition of making those things mandatory as you climb up a difficulty ladder, or even just say, I want to take on 7 of these side ops during a mission, and maybe it gives you a random set of 7 or something. I mean, I don't know, something to pad that game out a little bit more would have really been nice. Let's see. The third person to tackle it today was Thomas. Thomas, what'd you come away from Ground Zeroes thinking?
All right. Well, there wasn't a lot there, so I come in thinking, oh well, I'm expecting an hour and a half, and that's where I was at the end of the day, and there wasn't much to the gameplay besides normal TPS and FPS type stuff where you're just running and gunning. I mean, depending on how you play it, I mean, you could probably play it like it probably was meant to be, where you sneak around, knock people out, interrogate, and other things like that. But I feel like the most of the time I was playing it, I just, I'd shoot someone in the head and move on.
That might actually be the most vastly improved area of this game, was the melee combat. Just running up to dudes and hitting right trigger was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gave you options as well. Like, you would do the R1, and then you can either do L1 or RB, or you can do a deathly, deathly insta-kill kind of thing.
Lethal or non-lethal.
Yeah, lethal and non-lethal, that's what I meant to say. And yeah, you can also interrogate. So, it was interesting. I wasn't expecting a lot out of it, and I didn't get a lot out of it. So, expected.
Meeting expectations.
Yes.
All right. And then Kirsten, do you have anything we want to add before we go into some other things?
I don't know. For this being my first real Metal Gear experience, I think a little more backstory would have been helpful. Like actually knowing who people were instead of, oh hey, this is Snake. He's Big Boss. What's going on? I didn't really know that I was supposed to sneak it in the compound. I kind of got a couple sneak shots in, and then I was like, hey, I'm just going to shoot everybody so I don't have to deal with them anymore. So I didn't really play the game like it was supposed to, maybe, but I got it done anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have you play Metal Gear Solid 3
Yeah.
and just see what a certain part of the game is like after you go around killing everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
So that would be a lot of fun. People who played Metal Gear Solid 3 probably know what I'm talking about, but I won't spoil it for you.
I think that it would be better, like, knowing what I have to do now, I would actually probably play the game again to be able to play it the right way and see how it's done. You know, have, like, competing scores or whatever, since I'd lost the maximum amount of points for killing
Yeah, I saw that.
all the people.
Minus 9,999 points for him.
Oh, man.
And I'm knowing that you can do side missions and stuff now. That's actually pretty exciting. Like, I would probably do all the side missions.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's what the crux of our coming discussion on the game is going to be, and that it is somewhat, desirable to go through and replay at least parts of it to see how it changes and how you can do things differently. Is there anything we want to discuss before getting into a discussion on the value proposition?
Any changes to the game from any other Metal Gear game? The new stuff that's new in 5 Ground Zeroes, I still don't...
Kiefer Sutherland.
Exactly, that's a big one. Yeah, Snake's voice has changed.
Snake's voice has changed. Like war, Snake's voice has changed. I was a really big fan of David Hayter as Snake. I mean, that's partially, I think, just the fact that I'd played several games with him doing the voice, but also because I came to really like the way that voice sounded. And to change it seemingly without reason seems a bit strange. I don't know. Good old Kiefer does a good job, but I don't know. We'll see after Phantom Pain how he does with probably a much fuller script to give a good performance of Snake. But that's a huge change coming from playing the other games. Just not hearing the man behind Snake. That was pretty significant. It threw me off guard at first, for sure.
Yeah, we won't cover everything because that's going to probably be in the Phantom Pain review whenever that comes out, because assuming those changes will be still there. But I'll note a couple real quick. I did really like the way the helicopter system works, and you get there's all these different places you can basically summon the helicopter to extract the prisoners or yourself, and choosing where is really important. If you take out all the enemies first or not, or if you want to have to carry this person on your back all the way out of the base to a safer place, but risk getting spotted when you only have a pistol in your hand.
That's what I did.
It's risky. It's a really good balance, and it made the first time I tried to do it right in the middle of the base, and I got the prisoner out, but then I died immediately after.
Oh.
And then the next time I went outside, but it was fun to have that choice. I really liked that.
Yeah. That is very cool. I mean, I kind of wish I could have just strapped a balloon to the back of the person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
If only
that
each
would've been
game
nice.
had done that before.
If only it wasn't.
Yeah, man. If only they'd thought of something like that in a previous game.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker does that.
Yep. Strap a balloon to a guy's back and send him straight up into the air.
Now he's a part of your team.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Anymore.
Spoilers. Can you have spoilers for a game that's an hour and a half long?
Thomas. Oh, as soon as Thomas finished the game, he told me I can't give it a score because it's not a game.
Yeah.
Because it's so short.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, the extraction system's really good. The idea of having a large map that you just kind of, move around at, at your own pace, was nice. Yeah, just the ability to kind of take on things at your leisure was really nice. It felt a little bit more open, I guess, than Metal Gear Solid games had previously. So yeah, if there are more kind of open environments like that in the Phantom Pain, and they let you structure the way you're going to infiltrate, based on how you want to do it, and not what a series of linearly connected smaller open places is, that could make for a really interesting stealth game. And the stealth genre is undergoing its own changes right now, from the old Splinter Cell ways to new things like Mark of the Ninja, and even new Splinter Cell games. So seeing how Metal Gear embraces the changes to the stealth genre that it's seen throughout its history, that'll be really interesting to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other changes you guys noticed?
Well, I'd like to make a note that there was an optional mission where you could go and rescue another prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
You guys did mention there was only 2 prisoners to rescue, and I was like, oh well.
It's all
You
it
know.
takes to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it all came down to the fact that I just waited and listened to 2 guards talk about, oh man, there was an escaped prisoner. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the
So-
eavesdropping system's pretty new. To actually listen to guards to gain information, there was the directional mic in MGS 3, but
Yeah.
and then also you can mark enemies now to follow them, much like Far Cry
Mhm.
Or Splinter Cell.
and a lot of
Conviction.
other games
Yeah.
have been doing. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, the binoculars, just incorporating all of those separate mechanics into one thing that was really easy to
Yeah.
use was very nice. So that was a good bit of streamlining that helps the player.
did anybody use the left bumper information button?
I,
much?
I did, but it just kind of
I did
lets
the
you
start and
talk
then
to
forgot.
Yeah, it just kind of lets you talk to Miller whenever you want, although he doesn't always have useful things to say.
Mhm.
Usually it's just general, this is what I need to do stuff.
It seems like
kind
a
of
good
hint
way
button.
to bring in the codec to be less outworldly from the game and more
Sure.
inside of it. You don't have to leave the game
Yes.
to actually listen to it. That's kind of a good idea, I think. We'll see how that works later.
Yep. I don't know. I'm one of those guys who gets nostalgic for black and green codec screens, though.
definitely.
So, yeah, it's give and take, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, is it worth it?
So let's break down what platforms Ground Zeroes is available on, and then how much it costs on those platforms.
After Game Informer's reveal that it took them 2 hours to beat the game, there was an enormous backlash, and Konami cut the price on next-gen versions, physical copies, to $30 from $40. So now it's $30 across the board for all 4 systems, and then $20 downloadable for the older ones.
Okay. It's a game that, let's see, Alex beat in 55 minutes, I beat in 66 minutes, and Kirsten and Thomas beat in roughly 90 minutes. Is that to any of us at least, is that worth $20 or $30? Let's say 30, because most of us like physical copies of games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes worth $30? And especially, is it worth $40? The $40 they were originally going to
Definitely
charge.
not. I mean, not for 40, definitely not. 20, I think, would have been the right place
Mhm.
for everything. I guess seeing the idea of digital less is interesting. I don't think that's going to go over well with a lot of big publishers, and especially brick and mortar stores are going to be very much against that. But if that's a trend that can continue, that'd be nice. I would like to save money digitally if possible, but because I wanted to play it on next gen and see the new graphics, because there are no games on those next gen consoles, I guess I went with the physical copy, even though we rented it. So that makes it even better.
Mhm.
It was worth the however much we paid, $3 to $5.
Yeah, $4, let's say.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we all played it on $4.
Yep. So $1 a piece. Woo. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's. I've, of course, as a kid, unlimited income. The amount of game you get for your money as a child was a very big factor for me and the kinds of things that I would want to pay. If I bought something, I'd want to play it a lot, and I'd hope that there's a lot there to replay, so that I felt like, since I can't get another game for a long time, I want to enjoy this one as long as I can. I've learned to eschew that point of view over time as smaller games have come out and cost less, but also have been quite short. I bought Portal for $20, and that was a 3.5-hour experience, but I felt that was totally worth it. I think smaller games have their place as long as they deliver an experience that justifies the cost. Ground Zeroes, I think, does that at $20. I don't think it does it at $30, and I certainly don't think it does it at $40. The compulsion to replay Ground Zeroes is fairly significant, I'd say. It's got a good replay value on it, and it gives you a good reason to go back. Like I said, I had no idea that playing it on hard would put it in the daytime. So that alone, I want to see what that.
It was just a different mission. I don't know if hard would have it at day or not.
Okay.
Yeah, just that specific mission had it in the day.
Okay. Yeah, I would want to go through and give that a shot just to see that environment in the day. Like, so that has something to be said for it. I think, yeah, it's Konami's reaction. They're, got shot. Oh, we have to lower this by $10 immediately. Almost made it seem worse in a way. But I mean, yeah, this is a game that you can beat in your first try in an hour or an hour and a half. So it's not worth $30.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
I don't know. I think, like, even though I didn't particularly like my gameplay through it, I still would have probably paid at least $30. I wouldn't have paid 40. I would have glad to pay 20, but I think 30 is okay. It's about half a game, so it's about half the price.
I hope that's not half the game.
Well, but like that, the time limit and everything, a game would probably take about 6 to 8 hours, and this is only, it took me an hour and a half. I could see paying $30 for it, especially since this was a, current gen console as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, the Metal Gear games are about story first, and everything else really doesn't matter. And the story going on in Ground Zeroes is nearly non-existent. So,
yep.
As a pretty big MGS fan, it's a little disappointing in that respect.
And it really is a shame that the story in Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes really doesn't make a lick of sense. I mean, I'm talking about a Metal Gear game here. It doesn't make a lick of sense if you haven't played Peace Walker. Like, it does a really poor job of initiating, bringing people in who haven't played that Metal Gear Solid game that was on the PSP that 6 people in the United States owned.
Hey,
the PSP is a great system. The PSP, but not enough people owned one, and not enough people played Peace Walker to throw those characters in such a significant way without properly explaining the backstory, just kind of giving you a few walls of text to look through. I feel it does a poor job making use of the story that they did put in the game.
Yeah.
Because the characters that you're going in to rescue are very vital to Peace Walker, but if you haven't played that, they haven't appeared in anything else. So you're not going to have that connection. You're not going to know what one character did to another. And it makes that story really confusing if you don't know Peace Walker backwards and forwards.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most annoying things about this. I go in not knowing anything. It doesn't tell me anything, of what happened, who these people are, why we're trying to rescue them at all. It's like, hey, do this. And I'm not going to tell you who these people are. It was very, very aggravating.
I'm not trying to sound condescending or anything here, but did you read the backstory?
I did.
Okay, all right. Just make it like it. I did too. That was where I got my stuff. But yeah, I feel like that didn't quite explain enough as well. But I was just curious. All right. So Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, really short, plays really well. The game looks and sounds fantastic. I feel like the music in particular suits the mood very well.
That was probably my favorite part.
Kirsten had a fantastic near-death run carrying one of the prisoners over halfway across the entire map, being shot at the entire time, and this awesome music's playing. It's raining, there's lightning, it was
pretty
really,
epic.
really awesome 45 seconds that just really tied the end of that together.
I was tired of shooting people, so I just carried and ran. So.
I mean, you kind of have to do that when you've got a tank chasing you halfway across
well,
the map.
I did take over a tank,
Yeah.
but then they shot me out of the tank.
They did.
So.
oh man, I didn't know you could take the tank over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can
That was
drive.
actually-
all the vehicles you see you can drive.
I figured that, but I just didn't think about the tank. 'cause
Yeah.
That was
'cause I
actually
saw
the second tank I took over. I took
Oh.
over one at the very front of the
man.
map.
Holy cow.
I knew you could jump. I jumped in the back of a truck and wait for some dudes to walk by, but I didn't know you could get in the truck.
Oh no.
Oh yeah,
no,
you can drive all that
I
stuff.
got into the
man.
truck. Someone threw a grenade at me, and I get in the truck trying to move it out of the way, and it blows it up. I get thrown out. It drives away. Boom! Blows up, and I was like, "Oh crap!"
Snake actually is very good at automatically diving out of a vehicle if it's about to explode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
It will
I tried
just
to-
eject you, so
Yeah.
you don't die because you didn't know your vehicle was about to explode.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It is really good. Yeah, hey, there we go. All right, more
Maybe
positive.
this game is GTA.
But yeah,
Grand
it's
Theft 10.
so yeah. There's depth there. It looks great. It sounds great. It's a little too expensive, and it doesn't do a good job of conveying its story. but the replayability's there, along with the controversy. So does anybody have anything else they want to say about Ground Zeroes before we wrap this up?
I wanted to shift the discussion a little bit towards potential impact on the industry looking forward. And does Ground Zeroes, a $30 release that is essentially a prologue or could easily be described as a paid demo for another game, could that start to leak into other publishers' minds and be like, oh man, look how much money... I think it's all going to come down to how much money Ground Zeroes makes for Konami, and if other publishers take note. Like, hey, people like brand X, we could split that into 2 games and make twice as much money. Kind of like what the movies are doing.
Yeah, it's... I hadn't considered the movie angle, but I do think it's important to note that Ground Zeroes is not the first game in the games industry to do this. We've had things like Dead Rising 2 Case Zero, which was, I believe, $10 and offered a few hours of gameplay.
Yeah, that's really good.
But was very much a prologue to Dead Rising 2. There was Gran Turismo 5 prologue for the PSP for a Gran Turismo game that would come out 2.5 years later on the PS3. You could use the PSP as a rear-view mirror, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. I think there's another example that I'm not. I want to say there's another example out there that I had a minute ago, but like it's not the first game to do it, and it's certainly the most expensive game to do it outside of maybe Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. But yeah, if it makes money for Konami, I think we're going to see this a lot, and I would hope that other publishers learn from the reaction to this, and that if they do something like that, it's going to be more substantial to either justify the cost or lower it, to a realistic level. But yeah, I think we're going to see this more and more going forward, especially with the cost of development being so high. So if you can cut that in half and release half a product, charge maybe $5-10 more than it's worth, and do that twice, I think that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it also goes with to perhaps account for the rising price of games, making games in general. We got new consoles, so that's more hard assets to create and whatnot. So more work being done. Games still cost $60. So,
or in the case of Metal Gear Solid 5, $80 or $90.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't think they will, but if they might sell a version of Phantom Pain with Ground Zeroes when it comes out.
I was actually about to ask that question: do we think that Phantom Pain will include Ground Zeroes?
I think it should.
I think they'll sell both, like one with and one without. Maybe, I don't know. Like I have no idea.
Like, I mean, if they put it in the box with Phantom Pain, they are saying this was nothing more than a paid demo. So I think that in the standard edition of the game, you can't include Ground Zeroes. Like, if anything, that goes and fuels purchases of Ground Zeroes.
The next year they do a complete edition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Game of the Year edition includes Ground Zeroes, Phantom Pain, and Phantom Pain DLC. Done. Yep, right there.
I don't know if they'll do DLC. Hope not.
Oh, they totally will.
They did for Rising, but Rising's a different kind of game.
Yeah, Rising.
It is, but
I don't know.
This is 2014. Well, by the time Phantom Pain comes out, 2017. So,
no problem.
Holiday next year?
I think that's a safe guess.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably the earliest.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's no way Phantom Pain comes out within a year.
Yep, I agree.
I would eat my metaphorical hat that I don't wear because hats look terrible on me.
So, Thomas or Kirsten, anything on where the industry's going in regards or potential impact of Ground Zeroes?
I don't know. I really hope that this is not a trend to bring out, a game for like $30 or $40 and say, oh, hey, this is a little bit longer than a demo, that you could probably download for free on any other company. If they're going to do that, then they need to make it substantially cheaper, or they just need to make it a demo.
Yeah.
Just make it a free demo and cut their losses when they would actually gain more people when the actual game comes out. Because if it's free, that means more people will play it.
And see, okay, is there a demo for Ground Zeroes? It's a box product.
That's an interesting idea.
I feel like it has to have a demo, right? So what is the
What would
demo
that
for
be?
Ground
I get
Zeroes?
it'd probably be like Just Cause 2 that I thought was a really good idea that it just drops you into the world and you have, what was it, 20 minutes?
It's either 20 minutes or half an hour,
Yeah,
but
something like that.
you can beat Ground Zeroes in that time.
So it's just 5 or 10 minutes?
5 or 10, yeah. I
Is
think
the
you
opening
get-
cutscene in 5 minutes?
Yeah,
shoot
maybe.
shoot one guy in the head.
Probably
and
not
then
even
done.
the opening cutscene.
Just drop you in 5 minutes, go.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Phantom Pain will probably have a demo.
It already does.
Oh, that's what I was looking for. All right,
Okay.
excellent. All right. Sorry, Kirsten. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this going forward.
I quit.
There's too much
Rage quit live. Oh.
too much money to be made.
I can see Square doing it.
Oh gosh.
Oh no, hope not.
Don't tell them that.
I can see it, yeah.
They don't know.
But for them it'd be like a 10-hour game.
Nintendo probably won't.
Mm-mm.
I
Yeah,
can't
let's
see any
try.
reason for Nintendo to do that at all.
I don't think Sega would.
I don't know, Nintendo's pretty... I'm not even gonna go there.
They're
No,
just way behind.
never mind.
Alright. Anybody got anything else?
Oh,
Let's see.
We covered most of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Travis Touchdown's performance as
Definitely.
Kazuhiro Miller.
Always.
Yeah.
I definitely wrote that down in my notes. Trevor's touchdown is still great. Quote.
Who's Skullface? Who is Skullface?
I was, yeah. Oh my gosh.
And is he working for Ocelot? I don't know. Didn't he show up in the Phantom Pain trailer?
Yes.
I feel like he did.
Yes, I think so.
Alright.
Man, we got so much horseback and
Hiding on the side of horses.
hiding on the sides of horses and flaming,
That's the-
flying whales and
I want to see that.
big boss
In
with a
real gameplay.
prosthesis. Like,
Oh yeah, it's true.
Phantom Pain's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Good. It'll be a Metal Gear game.
It will be a Metal Gear game.
Oh yeah, and my completion time for Ground Zeroes was 90 minutes, and a third of that was cutscenes. So it is a Metal Gear game.
Yep.
There you go.
It classifies. Yeah. We've got the entire chronology laid out in front of us on the table, and yeah, fits right in.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our Metal Gear Solid 5 retrospective / audio review. We hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, you can see the full review wherever you're looking, because we're probably going to post this right there. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to Bad Gaming Podcast for hopefully a best Wii list coming up here pretty soon. And then as we approach Game of the Half Year, we'll also be looking at Game of the Generation. So that'll be horrifying and fun for you guys, not much fun for the 7 of us. So yeah, look forward to that. And yeah, thanks for listening.